Retired general and former Democratic presidential candidate Wesley Clark on Friday called for World War II-style internment camps to be revived for disloyal Americans. He goes on to say in this article, the comments were shockingly out of character for Clark. No, Wesley Clark is a progressive. And it is totally in character for progressives to call for internment camps. They're the only ones in the history of this nation who have ever done it. Wesley Clark, FDR, Woodrow Wilson. Sound familiar? The only ones to ever call for internment camps.
And Reagan, obviously.
No.
No?
No.
What Ronald Reagan didn't do.
No,
George W. Bush, though, did do them. A lot of them.
No.
A lot of internment camps. No?
None.
It was just...
grand total of 0.
So the only two presidents that have done it are the two presidents, progressive, continually to this day put in the top 5 presidents.
Yes. Yes.
That's interesting.
And if you don't believe Wesley Clark called for internment camps, listen to this. Wesley Clark, General Wesley Clark.
But I do think on a national policy level, we need to look at what self-radicalization means, because we are at war with this group of terrorists. They do have an ideology. In World War II, if someone supported Nazi Germany at the expense of the United States, we didn't say that was freedom of speech. We put him in a camp. They were prisoners of war. So if these people are radicalized and they don't support the United States and they're disloyal to the United States as a matter of principle, fine, that's their right. It's our right and our obligation to segregate them from the normal community for the duration of the conflict. And I think we're going to have to increasingly get tough on this, not only in the United States, but our allied nations like Britain and Germany and France are going to have to look at their domestic law procedures.
General Wesley Clark, as always, great to see you, sir. Thanks for your time.
No follow-up.
That's what my favorite part of it is. Okay, thank you, General. You don't challenge him on internment camps?
I'm up against the clock. I got to go. General Wesley Clark, thanks for stopping.
Wish I could talk about your call for internment camps, but we got to go. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, my friend.
I mean, that is what happened. You could tell he was out of time. But still, he usually would... Did you just... I'm sorry, did you... Did you say? Now,
wait, we're going to hold you over to the next break. I mean, we had a really good recipe segment coming up, but I think this might be more interesting. I'd like to flesh out what you just said coming up. Isn't that what you do?
Wait, what's is it the French toast recipe?
It is the French toast.
It is the French toast recipe.
Yes.
Okay, now
so,
I think.
Thank you for your comments, General Clark. We'll see you.
We'll see you next time, because there's fresh berries on this French. Maybe as we're powdering the sugar on top of the French toast, you can kind of go over that whole internment camp thing again. Is that possible? Now, what do you have in a defense in saying he's talking about people who are legitimate? I mean, he doesn't seem to actually...
He's talking about radicalized. Now, how do you know? And what's your definition of radicalized?
And he's not talking about criminals, it doesn't seem like.
No.
He's kind of separating it from
Muslims.
Someone who's committed a crime. But I'm saying, like, if you're radical, obviously, there's a good chance that you're doing something that's illegal if you're radicalized enough. Now, of course, those people we have places for, which are already prisons.
Those are called jails and prisons. Yeah.
So he's making a distinction of people who support it. It's their right to support it, but we do need to separate them from society.
Then, you know what? You don't call that a right anymore. When you're separated from society for doing something that's a right, that's not a right.
But to a progressive...
It is. Yeah, you can go ahead and say anything you want against this president, but we're going to exercise our right and put you in jail. What? What? That is progressive mentality right there. And that is a fulfillment, I think, of what Glenn has said. And it sounds outrageous when he has said it in the past. But he has said they will call for internment camps. Is he not?